for me, like Fulham it does kind of feel like a religion, and it feels a bit like when I walk into the cottage, it's like going to church. Like whenever I'm in mass, right? I look around and I'm like, okay, like these are my people. Like this is like, my faith. They all kind of pull in the same direction and think the same way that I do. When I walk into the cottage, it's the same thing. I'm like, these are my people. You don't really do it for the glory. You do it because you have that community of people around you, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
They left the
refreshment
stand, the bar open, and they had televisions there.
Yeah.
And because I guess at Arsenal,
it's kind of what they're doing at the Riverside, right? Like trying to make it like
hang out,
like a social. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Just introduce yourselves. Do like name, hometown, and how long you've been supporting Fulham.
Brilliant. So Sam Fuchs, son of Richard Fuchs. All right. Hi, I'm Rich. I live in Dallas, Texas now. I grew up in Pittsburgh and lived all over the world. I've been supporting Fulham since I was 6. I think that was the first time we went to the cottage. Yeah. I've supported Fulham since probably about 2005 when we moved from Hong Kong to London, and my son and I really started getting involved in football. My father, he loved sports. He was, he would take us to the baseball games, and would watch, or actually in the day, listen to the football games, the Steeler games on the radio, because you couldn't watch them on television. That was before they had the home games allowed to be televised. And I mean, he was a sports fanatic, and he instilled that love, if you will, the passion of the support of the team in us. And again, it was it was a father-son thing. We would go to the baseball games on occasion. We'd go to the Steeler games when you could get tickets to that, and it was really special because it was something you did with your dad. That's kind of the way it was. What happened was when we moved back to London, my dad really wanted to take us to a game, like me to a game, because it's like a fun thing to do with your son. It's like a good bonding experience, and like culturally, it's so cool to go to Premier League games here. And so he was asking around actually from his friends. He was saying, oh, like where should I take Sam and all that kind of stuff. And most of them said I'd go to Fulham. And the reason was they said it was a family club. You could take your son, you could take your daughter to the games. And that was back in the time when there was still kind of the leftovers of the hooliganism and the problems that some of the clubs were having. And they said, that never seemed to happen at Fulham to that same extent. So it's a safe club. It's a family club. Great atmosphere. The cottage is right on the river and a beautiful walk, really close to where you guys live in Wimbledon. And there was Brian McBride at the time, like an American, so it was like easy for us to kind of get behind that. We decided, when we move back, we're gonna get some tickets. And the first year we bought like a half season plan or something, and it was the Saturday out. We would go to the match, we'd take the underground or the bus up to the cottage, get off the station, go to the match. And then afterwards, quite often, it was funny. It became a habit, a ritual. Sam. So we'd come to the match. He'd get his Orangina and a Fulham dog, and I'd get the beer, and we'd stand there and talk to other people, and then you'd go and watch a match. And after the match, very often there was a pub, the 8 Bells, that was right by the tube station. And so if it was crowded, we'd just say, let's stand here. And they had TVs outside, so you could watch the evening match, the 5:15 match. And so we'd stand there, and they'd have an Orangina, and I'd have a beer, and we'd watch the match for a while, and then once the crowd left, we'd take off to go back home. So it kind of just became this Saturday ritual. And I mean, I immediately fell in love. Like it was just like, it was truly love at first sight. It's hard to explain it any other way. We just, we absolutely loved it. And we got home, we were giddy. It's just an opportunity to spend a Saturday doing something you enjoy with both of them. my dad's funny because he gets excited about a lot of things. For Fulham, like, I think half the reason he started really getting into it was because of how into it I was. Like, I'm a kid. It's like some of my best childhood memories. Like, I was all for Fulham. He grew up in Pittsburgh. He had like the days of the, what's it called, the steel curtain, and he's growing up in that environment for Pittsburgh. So like that's just kind of like in his core DNA. For me, we were expats. I never had that experience with the Steelers, even though I love them so much. Like I had that experience with Fulham. Like I had those days like Chelsea at home that were so special to me and made me a core fan and made me believe. So I think truly for him at first, he was really excited about it because I was really excited about it, just as any good parent would be excited about something their kid's excited about. And I think that very quickly turned into, him just loving the team and having that same like shared beautiful nostalgia of, I think probably for him every time, like he's a silly guy and whatnot, and he'll never like show his sentimentality, but I'm sure every time he walks in the cottage with me, he like looks at me and he thinks about when I was like wee height and 7 years old, and having such happy memories of us two together in those moments. And it's like he's just been like such a good dad to me like for so many years, and so to share those special moments with him probably like meant a lot to him just as much as it meant to me.
I think again it's the link. So as it's always been. So like with more with my son, but when the matches are on Saturdays, even if he's in New York and I'm in Dallas, we'll text about him and always, I can't believe they did that, and he's down usually at the pub with the Fulham FC club, so I think the connectivity isn't that good at that. So usually I'll get the commentary afterwards. But it's one more connection, one more connecting point in a situation where now your family, they are going their own way. They're living quite a distance. They're living their own lives and working, whatever. So you look for those. You always look for those places where you do connect, where you have that commonality as their interests change. That Fulham will always be. It will always be a common thing for us and something that we share. And hopefully one day if Sam and Gabby married, have children, etc., that you can pass that on to their children, and that'll become the next generation. You hear so many stories about, my father was a Fulham supporter, and my grandfather, and my et cetera, et cetera. So the hope is that with the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. I mean, my grandchildren, whenever they arrive, won't have a choice there. But hopefully we can interest them in something that we find and we've shared for now 20 years. I guess it was 2005. Yeah, 20 years.
I'm just very fortunate that I have someone that is not only like a friend but bloodline that I can also like share the excitement with.
Do you think it's meant more to you as you've gotten older, that relationship?
Yeah, 100%. And I think like it's hard to say because back in the day, like you don't really process things like when you're a kid. Like you just kind of like go about life. Like you don't think about like the meaning of things the same way you do when you like start to get older. So like I think for me, like nowadays I look back at that and I'm like, those were my best childhood memories. Like those are my best memories with my dad. And like I had so many good memories with my dad. Like he's been a wonderful father, but like those were truly like the best memories I had with him. And you're talking about going to like a soccer match. It's just like it's so weird that becomes like core to who you are as a person. But I think it has, and to your point, just sharing the memories with him in particular is just a brilliant thing.
side.